Welcome to the Red Pill Podcast, powered by AgencyX.net. Explore AI-driven creativity, groundbreaking innovations, and industry insights, all in one game-changing podcast. Enjoy.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into something that, it's probably on your mind if you use AI tools, this whole idea of the perfect prompt.
That's right. And today, we're focusing just on one source for this. It's an article called The Myth, the Prompt.
Okay.
Written by someone called WebsterX from Agency X, published pretty recently, August 2024.
Got it. So our mission today is really to unpack what this article is saying. Why call the perfect prompt a myth? And more importantly, what does the author think really matters when you're trying to get, useful stuff out of AI like ChatGPT or Claude?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to look at why they argue that just focusing on the exact words is maybe a dangerous illusion.
Right.
And what they suggest is a more valuable way for you to approach it.
Okay, let's get into it. So this widespread belief the article points to is this idea of the perfect prompt, right?
Yeah, this magical combination of words. That's the phrase they use.
Like if you just type it in just so, you're guaranteed amazing results every time.
And you see that everywhere, don't you? People searching for that ultimate template.
Totally. Believing that if they just nail the phrasing, the AI will, understand perfectly and do all the hard work, all the heavy lifting, as the article says.
But this is where the author really pushes back. They flat out call this search, this belief, a dangerous illusion.
Dangerous? That sounds strong. Why dangerous?
Well, because, the article argues, it makes you focus on the wrong thing. It suggests that this idea of a one-size-fits-all prompt, it just doesn't hold water.
Okay.
No single formula is going to be perfect for every single topic, every single task.
And the reason for that, according to the source?
It goes back to how these models actually function. They're not thinking or understanding like we do.
Right.
They generate responses based on finding patterns, correlations in the huge amounts of data they were trained on.
So the crucial point the article makes is, if you don't bring your own expertise to the table.
Exactly. If you don't bring your knowledge into the interaction, even a really well-phrased prompt can spit out stuff that sounds good, but is actually, superficial, maybe misleading, or sometimes just flat out wrong.
Because it's just predicting likely words, not judging truth.
Precisely. It's pattern matching, not reasoning.
The article has examples, right, to illustrate this.
Yeah, really clear ones. Like, imagine someone who knows basically nothing about physics, asking an AI, explain quantum entanglement simply.
Okay, what happens?
Well, the model probably gives an answer. It might sound plausible, might use some of the right words it's seen associated together. But the person asking, the novice, they have no real way to judge if that explanation is accurate or just. Kind of a simplified, maybe even incorrect summary based on common patterns. It could be misleading.
Okay, I see. Now, contrast that with the other example, a physicist.
Right. A physicist asking something much more specific, like compare the implications of Bell's theorem versus the EPR paradox in contextualizing non-locality.
That sounds cool.
It is. And the response they'd get would likely be way more nuanced, much more specific, and probably more accurate within the AI's limits.
Why the difference?
Because the physicist's deep knowledge is guiding the process. They're pointing the AI towards a very specific, complex part of its training data where the patterns probably relate to actual scientific discussion.
So the key difference the article hammers home is?
Competence in the subject matter. That's the quote. It's not the prompt itself that's magic. It's the informed mind using the prompt and, crucially, evaluating the output.
Okay, that makes sense. So if your own knowledge is the real engine here, how does that expertise actually, improve the interaction with the AI? The article breaks that down.
It does, into a few key ways.
Yeah.
First up, critical evaluation.
Okay.
The expert can look at what the AI says and go, that sounds right, but actually it's subtly wrong, or that misses the point.
Whereas if you don't know the subject...
You're flying blind, basically. You might just accept something incorrect because the AI sounds so confident it's easy to do.
Right.
Then there's iterative refinement. Getting really good stuff from AI usually isn't just one prompt and done.
It's more of a conversation.
Exactly, a dialogue. You need to ask follow-up questions, maybe correct the AI. If it misunderstands, push it to go deeper.
And doing that effectively requires knowing the subject well enough to ask the right follow-ups or know how to correct it.
Precisely. It's a sophisticated back and forth that really relies on your understanding.
And the third point?
Contextual depth. The article points out that AI is pretty decent at fetching definitions or summarizing things, almost like a very fast textbook. But, and this is a quote, meaningful insights come from human-guided exploration.
Okay, explain that, the historian example.
Yeah, that's a great one. Think about a historian who really knows their stuff. They can use AI to help analyze, say, primary source documents. They can ask very targeted questions based on their existing knowledge and what they're trying to find out.
Right,
Compared to someone just typing in, summarize the causes of World War I. That person will get a generic, basic summary. Useful maybe, but shallow.
But the historian is using the AI as a tool within a much deeper investigation, providing the context and the critical angle.
Exactly. They bring the depth, the AI assists.
So it sounds like the article is really trying to shift our focus away from just tweaking words, away from what it calls prompt engineering hype.
That's the term, yeah. Obsessing over the perfect sequence of words.
So instead of that, what should we be focusing on, according to the source?
It boils down to focusing on what you bring. First, and this is key, deepening your own knowledge in whatever area you're working on.
So recognizing AI is a tool, not a replacement for understanding.
Absolutely. It amplifies your competence. It doesn't create it out of thin air. Second, engaging in a real dialogue with the AI.
Treating it less like an oracle and more like what did the article say?
A brainstorming partner. That's the idea. It's a conversation, a collaboration.
Okay. And third?
Critically important. Cross-referencing the outputs. Always. If the AI gives you factual claims or critical information, you have to verify it with trusted, reliable sources.
Don't just take its word for it, because it can be wrong.
It absolutely can be. It's not infallible.
Okay, so this seems, well, pretty straightforward, actually. A powerful message. What's the ultimate takeaway here? The bottom line.
The article's conclusion is really clear. The very best prompt. It isn't about the words you type. It's about having an informed mind. That's the core idea. The source puts it directly. AI amplifies competence. It doesn't replace it.
So if you want quality, reliable results from these tools...
Your own understanding, your own knowledge, that's the essential foundation.
There was an analogy too, right? About a surgeon.
Yeah, a really vivid one. Would you trust a surgeon who only knows how to ask an AI for instructions?
Oof, no, definitely not.
And the author says that principle applies broadly. Your expertise, your critical thinking, that's what makes the difference. That's the bedrock.
It's quite a compelling counterpoint to all the hype around just prompt tricks, isn't it? It really emphasizes the human element.
It really does. Our knowledge, our ability to analyze, to refine, that's what lets us actually use these powerful AI tools well, rather than being misled by them potentially.
So there you have it, a strong case from this article that the secret sauce isn't some magic prompt you find online.
No, it's the depth of your own understanding and how critically you engage with the AI.
It really reframes how we should think about interacting with AI, doesn't it? Less about trying to hack the machine.
And more about strengthening the person using it. The article's final thought really sticks with you. The perfect prompt is a myth. What truly unlocks AI's potential is the mind behind it.
Which leaves you, the listener, with something to think about, maybe. How does knowing this perspective change how you approach learning? Or how you decide to use AI in your own life or work?
Yeah, definitely something to mull over next time you open up that chat window.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Red Pill Podcast. If you enjoyed diving deep into the future of AI and media, make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Stay tuned. Bigger insights, bolder ideas, and game-changing discussions are coming your way. Sponsored by agencyx.net.